I invite you to come and meditate with me briefly on Psalm 125, one of the most important psalms that starts by saying the following: Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be moved, but abides forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds His people from this time forth and forever. We can understand that there are two main topics in this psalm for us to understand and benefit from. The first one is trust in God. Our trust in God, I see that at the same time, that is the greatest sacrifice, also can be the greatest facility. The greatest sacrifice is to trust in God because we must trust in who we don't see, who we cannot touch, and we cannot feel. We must trust in God based on what is written in His Word, which means pure faith. Trust is not an impulsive faith. At times, out of impulse, you have faith, certain attitudes, but it changes after a few moments, a few hours, or a few days. And later, you don't have the very same impulse. This is not trust. Trust is, as usually we illustrate, with a plane flying. When a plane is on the landing strip, it switches on its turbines, and there's an impulse that pushes the plane in the landing strip, and after a certain speed being reached, it goes up against the wind, which means it needs a great strength to take those iron tons out of the ground and to gain some altitude. This is the faith of impulse, as Peter had when he said, "If it's you walking on the waters, so tell me to go with you and walk on the waters." Peter had a faith to ask Jesus to give him power to walk on the waters with him. And he had faith to place his feet on the sea, and he walked on the waters. The plane took off, gained altitude. After gaining altitude, it must keep that height, that altitude, until they are close to their destination and they start to go down to land. So this maintenance of a plane at a certain speed and altitude, called cruising speed, when the plane is cruising, the impulsive faith takes it out of the ground, and the faith that keeps them in constant speed and altitude is called trust. It's like when Peter saw himself walking on the waters and the waves hitting his legs and the wind against him, he lacked trust. He had faith to come out of the boat and to give a few steps on the waters, but he stopped looking at Jesus and he started to look at his feet, the water. He used his rationale and he forgot faith, and he forgot that he could swim because he started to drown. A fisherman who doesn't know how to swim, yes, this is what happens when we stop using our faith, we even forget our own skills. So this trust is a sacrifice, because we must base ourselves on what is written. On the other hand, it is the greatest facility. Why? Because God never fails. The Word of God, if it is not fulfilled, the result is God is not God. God stops being God if what He said is not fulfilled. So it is easy. If you use your intelligent faith, it's easy to trust in God because you know that His word cannot fail. He cannot fail. And we easily trust in the words of others who can fail. We trust in the word of the doctor who can fail. We trust in the plane pilot or the airline, and they can fail. We trust in so many things and people who promise us many things, but there are small wordings at the bottom of a contract. When you sign a contract or you download an app, when you're using the internet, there are those tiny words and they ask you, do you agree? Then let me ask you, is there anyone here who read the terms and conditions that appeared on your phone? Anyone here? I've never done it. Do you know why? Because within us we think, I will trust. Nothing will go wrong, right? We trust. It's written there. If something happens, they will show us the following. You signed it. You agreed. We say yes and we agree and we sign things without asking, without reading. It's the trust we have that the other party will do no harm towards us, which means we easily and at times blindly trust in others. How can we not trust in God? So it shouldn't be hard. If on the one hand is a sacrifice, on the other hand, should be easy because we are used to trusting in people that are not trustworthy. So this is the first part in Psalm 125, to trust in Him and His words, because those who trust in Him are not moved, like Mount Zion that abides forever, and also says, as the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds His people from this time forth and forever. If you look at a map of Jerusalem or pictures of Jerusalem, you see that Mount Zion is on top of another mountain, but is shorter than other mountains. Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains. David, the psalmist David, he was used with Jerusalem because his palace was in Jerusalem, and every morning he had a view of all the mountains surrounding Jerusalem. So he was saying, the Lord for me and for His people like these mountains that surround Jerusalem. Those mountains protected Jerusalem, and God is around those who trust in Him. We can be sure that if we trust in God, we will not be moved. For a moment, as the psalm says on verse 3, for the scepter of wickedness, the government of the wicked, the scepter of wickedness, the government of the wicked, shall not rest on the land allotted to the righteous. He will not remain. For a moment, it may seem that the wicked are governing the righteous, that they are prevailing over the righteous. It's like a team that is losing in the first half, and in the second half, until the extra time, and then they turn the game. Likewise, is the people of God. It might be that for a moment that the wicked will rule, but it says, for the scepter of wickedness shall not rest on the land allotted to the righteous. This is talking about the final destination of the righteous, lest the righteous reach out their hands to iniquity. Which means if God allowed the wicked to rule forever, even the righteous would stop being righteous and practicing righteousness. And they would say, you know what? I'll be wicked too, because there's no benefit on being righteous. But the righteous who trusts in God, they don't let go of their righteousness just because the wicked is behaving differently. So trust and stability, hope, certainty that God, in the end, He will turn the results. So start to practicing what we said. In which area of your life you need to practice trust in God, that you should be looking at His Word, to focus on His Word, and not give so much attention to words that you hear of bad news and threatening you that this or that will happen, what if this or that. How many things in life you need to put all in a package to give to God in His hands on the altar. Mount Zion is a symbol of the altar. And say, Lord, I trust in you. You are surrounding me, protecting my life, and nothing will move me. In which areas of your life you must do this now. Do it, and you'll see that the result will be peace, tranquility, even in the midst of war or difficulties that you might be facing. If you have made it this far, it is because you want to be a better person. I challenge you to choose one thing you learn in today's video and put it into practice. I'll see you here next time.